Hello, disclaimer again. This is for my personal consumption, but if you find it helpful, you may tune in. The case is about Abdullah versus People, GR number 150129, April 6, 2005. Under our syllabus, it falls under Article 220, illegal use of public funds or property, also known as technical malversation. So, tungkol saan ba siya? Si petitioner Norma A. Abdullah was the president of the Sulu State College. Meron siyang two co-accused in this case. Yung cashier at saka yung administrative officer ng Sulu State College. And sa pagkaintindi ko ha, yung allegation dito sa information is that meron siyang merong budget or allocation for payment ng mga teachers na na-promote. So, specific para doon yung budget. However, out of those teachers na dinetermine na mapopromote, only some of them are qualified. So, therefore, may natira doon sa pera, doon sa amount. Parang 40,000 pesos ata yun. So, may natira doon sa 40,000 pesos. Wherein, ang ginawa ni petitioner, yung natirang amount, binayad niya sa terminal leave benefits nung mga teachers din. Ang ibang teachers na nag-resign na. Which is mandated by the Civil Service Law. Okay? So, because of that, kinasuhan siya ngayon ng Article 220. And what are the elements ba of Article 220? The elements are first, that the offender is a public officer. Second, that there is public fund or property under his administration. Third, that such public fund or property has been appropriated by law or ordinance. Fourth, that he applies the same to a public use other than that for which such fund or property has been appropriated by law or ordinance. So, doon, yun na nga, kinasuhan na siya. And sa Sandigan Bayan level, ang defense niya or ang argument nito ni Abdullah is that good faith is a valid defense in prosecution for malversation because it would negate criminal intent on the part of the accused, which the prosecution failed to prove. So, parang ang sinasabi niya, wala siyang criminal intent kasi nga binayad niya pa rin naman doon sa mga teachers. Ginamit niya pa rin yung natirang pera, not for her personal use, but to pay out for the terminal leave benefits of the teachers of the Sulu State College. Pero ano naman yung sabi ni Sandigan Bayan? Si Sandigan Bayan, in-invoke niyo yung Section 5 Paragraph B of Rule 131 of the Rules of Court na nagsasabi na an unlawful act was done with an unlawful intent, hence, dolo may be inferred from the unlawful act. Tapos nag-cite siya ng mga several cases. So, in other words, ang sinasabi lang ni Sandigan Bayan, it's incumbent na daw for the petitioner to rebut such presumption. So, kinonvict pa rin siya. Kasi nga, ang sinasabi ni Sandigan Bayan, criminal act under Article 220, yung criminal intent is presumed na by the commission of the criminal act. Tapos si accused daw or si petitioner, accused petitioner did not present any evidence to prove that no such criminal intent was present when she committed the unlawful act of technical malversation. Hence, the presumption that the unlawful act of the accused was done with criminal intent had been satisfactorily proven by the prosecution. So, yun nga, since ang sinasabi nila is in-apply niya sa iba yung amount na para doon sana sa payment ng promotion ng teachers to pay their salary difference, merong presumption na hindi niya na-rebut. So, convicted siya kay Sandigan Bayan and the motion for reconsideration was denied. Sa Supreme Court, syempre, nag-apela siya. And take note, etong apelan niya na to ha, 3,000 pesos na lang yung penalty niya. Nung una kasi meron siyang temporary special disqualification eh. Pero ni-remove siya ni Sandigan Bayan. Kaya yun na lang yung fine niya pero nag-appeal pa rin siya. Gusto niyang patunayan talaga yung innocence niya. And in doing such, the petitioner, presented 4 witnesses. Kasali siya. Tapos yung cashier, yung administrative officer, tsaka yung head of the DBM or the Department of Budget and Management. Meanwhile, sa prosecution, tinake note to ni Supreme Court ha, dinispense nila yung presentation ng testimonial evidence. And ano lang ginawa nila? They opted to mark evidence or exhibits. Tapos, nag-submit na sila ng oral offer nila ng evidence. So, ano yung mga arguments nila doon? Same pa rin ang arguments si petitioner, dinagdagan niya lang. Sabi niya, the prosecution failed to adduce evidence to prove criminal intent on her part. Okay? Tapos si Sandigan Bayan, syempre same reliance siya, same argument. Yung Section 5, Paragraph B, Rule 131 of the Rules of Court, that an unlawful act was done with an unlawful intent, hence, dolo may be inferred from the unlawful act. Ano sinasabi niya? Anong sabi ni Supreme Court? Sabi ni Supreme Court, it's time, no? The court must have to part ways with the Sandigan Bayan in its reliance on Section 5, Paragraph B of Rule 131 as basis for its imputation of criminal intent upon appellant. So, di sila nag-agree kay Sandigan Bayan. Sabi nila, for sure, the procedural rule relied upon does not apply at all to this case. Bakit? Kasi it's clear from the very language that the disputable presumption of the existence of unlawful or criminal intent presupposes the commission of an unlawful act. So, dapat unlawful siya from the very beginning. The presumption of criminal intent will not, however, automatically apply to all charges of technical malversation because disbursement of public funds for public use is per se not an unlawful act. Here, appellant cannot be said to have committed an unlawful act when she paid the obligation of the Sulu State College to its employees in the form of terminal leave benefits. Such employees were entitled to under existing civil service laws. In the absence of any presumption of unlawful intent, the burden of proving by competent evidence that appellant's acts of paying the terminal leave benefits of employees of the Sulu State College was done with criminal intent rests upon the prosecution. Ano lang yung parang sinasabi doon? Sinasabi lang niya na ni Supreme Court na yung presumption of criminal intent hindi siya laging automatically mag-a-apply sa charge ng technical malversation. And since hindi siya automatic mag-a-apply dahil nga hindi siya unlawful per se, ang prosecution pa rin ang may burden of proof para patunayan na may criminal intent or all of the elements of Article 220 or technical malversation has been committed. In this case, sabi ni Supreme Court, wala man lang silang pinresinta na kahit na anong testimonya or witness. So, sabi ni Supreme Court, the prosecution failed to prove unlawful intent on the part of the appellant. And remember the maxim that actus non facit reum nisi mens sit rea. Yung basic principle in criminal law that a crime is not committed if the mind of the person performing the act complained of be innocent. Which in this case, yun, binayaran lang naman niya yung terminal leave benefits ng mga teachers. Second argument ni petitioner is there's a failure on the part of the prosecution to prove the existence of all the essential elements of the crime of technical malversation. Nasabi na natin kanina yung mga elements. Particularly, sabi ni petitioner, the prosecution was unable to prove the second and third element. She argued that public funds in question, having been established to form part of savings, had therefore ceased to be appropriated by law or ordinance for any specific purpose. So, balikan natin, ano ba yung third and fourth element? Third element, that such public fund or property has been appropriated by law or ordinance. And fourth, that he applies the same to a public use other than that for which such fund or property has been appropriated by law or ordinance. In this case, take note that yung pagbabayad doon sa terminal leave benefits, nanggaling siya doon sa excess na 40,000 na supposedly ibabayad doon sa mga teachers na na-promote, which was authorized by the Department of DBM. Hindi ko alam yung buo. Department of Budget and Management, something like that. So, yun yung argument niya. Sabi naman ni Supreme Court, alam mo, tama ka. Nag-a-agree kami sa'yo. Kasi, mismong si Sandigan Bayan naman, nakita niya during trial and investigation na yun nga, yung 40,000 pesos na originally para doon sa salary differentials ng mga na-promote na school teachers, galing siya, na-source siya doon sa lump sum appropriation nung may specific doon, RA 6688, and the current savings under personal services ng school. So, wala talagang specific or particular appropriation for salary differentials nung secondary school teachers. Instead, nandun lang siya sa lump sum and authorization ng DBM. Therefore, sabi ni Supreme Court, the third element of the crime of technical malversation, which requires that the public fund used should have been appropriated by law, is therefore absent. Yung authorization na binigay ni Department of Budget and Management for the use of the 40,000 pesos allotment for payment of salary differentials nung school teachers na na-promote is not an ordinance or law contemplated in Article 220 of the Revised Penal Code. So, nag-cite pa ulit sa Supreme Court ng jurisprudence, yung Parungaw versus Sandigan Bayan. Ang sinasabi lang doon, in the absence of a law or ordinance appropriating the public fund allegedly technically malversed, the use thereof for another public purpose will not make the accused guilty of violation of Article 220 of the Revised Penal Code. In this case, remember na si petitioner accused who used the remainder of the 40,000 pesos released by the DBM for salary differentials for the payment of the terminal leave benefits of other school teachers cannot be held guilty of technical malversation because, again, there's no specific provision or law that appropriates said amount for the payment of the said salary differentials only. Therefore, since third and fourth elements of the crime defined in Article 220 of the Revised Penal Code are lacking, the petitioner accused was acquitted and the petition was granted. And our doctrine for this case would be: first, in the absence of a law or ordinance appropriating the public fund allegedly technically malversed, the use thereof for another public purpose will not make the accused guilty of violation of Article 220 of the Revised Penal Code. Second, the disputable presumption of the existence of unlawful or criminal intent presupposes the commission of an unlawful act. The presumption of criminal intent will not automatically apply to all charges of technical malversation because disbursement of public funds for public use is per se not an unlawful act.